Trucker Dave here, and today we're getting Torino parts, and hopefully we'll have something good happen at the end of the day. Okay, so we just got done here at the local O'Reilly's. I got my distributor and hopefully a tool that will keep me from having to pull the pan. And so let's get back to the house and get this all straightened out and see what can happen. Invariably, I got the wrong distributor, so I have to go back. So let's recap and I'll show you where we left off now that I've gotten everything here situated, and we'll get back to where we left off the last time. We've pretty much got everything done. I've got to put the cooling system back in, got to put the belts on and whatnot. I need to hook up the electrical. I've got a new plate, which is right here. Plate and gaskets for the carburetor, which is sitting up there. And just basically get the fuel line hooked up, get, everything ready to go. And it should be about another, 35-40 minutes worth of work, hopefully, and she might be ready to fire up, so let's find out. Because the old engine had a block, I'm going to go ahead and put a block back on it. I couldn't find another plastic block, but I found this Mr. Gasket kit, which will work. So all we need to do is drop a gasket on here, make sure everything's out of the way, and we'll drop the block on here, just like this. It should just go right on. Should. There we are. And get another gasket right there. And this Edelbrock, which way did it go? All right. Should just drop right on here. So, whoops. But not in those holes. So let me pull it back off. Dropped into the wrong spot. There we are. And excellent. Now all we have to do is tighten it down. The Mr. Gasket kit comes with everything you need. It's got 4 nuts, 4 washers, 4 studs in case you need to replace them. So this is just pretty much the Mr. Gasket number 6005. So far it seems to be good, so let's get this thing tightened down. A little reminder, when you put spark plugs in, you only put them in hand tight. You can use a ratchet and all that, but do not ugga-dugga them in, because you'll end up stripping a head, breaking a plug, and you could cause a lot more trouble than you need. Now all you got to do is come down here and put your little socket on, and if you can see it, and just tighten it up. And then if you give it maybe just barely snug it with a socket wrench, and that should be all you need. So now that we've got the spark plugs in and the distributor on, it's time to put the spark plug wires on. Now, if you're not sure what your firing order is, always consult your owner's manual, and that'll give you a good idea. So if you know which one number 1 is, which I do, you can do it all and it'll all go in order. So let's get to that. So the way I took them off, I know this one is number 1, which starts right here. So now I'll put number 1 on and we'll get the rest of them done up. Okay, so we got all the plug wires put in. We've got the accelerator cable hooked up. The kick-down cable's a little bent right here. I had a little accident when I put the engine in. I didn't unhook it, which was my fault, and the engine bent it. So I either need to bend it back or replace it, which I have an extra one. So before we stop for the night, tomorrow we're going to put the belts on, put the radiator in, put the, I got the coil wire somewhere. We got all the plugs in, and Just all the little things. We're going to concentrate on all the little things tomorrow because the little things are what are going to trip you up. So I'm going to spend tomorrow when we come out here, because the sun's going down, starting to get chilly, and we're going to just do all the little things, make sure all the hoses are tightened up, everything that needs to be tight is tight, make sure the fuel line's hooked up, and get just all the stuff put together. So when we go to crank it, we don't have any surprises, and we'll just go down the list, do it, and see if she'll go. Okay, so it's the next day. I gotta head up to Walmart to get a antifreeze and whatnot. I don't have any fluids at the house, so I gotta get oil, antifreeze, and truthfully I'm gonna wait for it to warm up a little bit. I don't know if you can see it, but it's cold. I got vapor coming out of my mouth and I'm not even smoking, so it's a bit chilly. So we'll do this in the morning, and once we get home it should be heated up a little bit. Gotta shift gears. Should be heated up a little bit and we'll be good to start. Found a battery. Apparently the only difference between these two, other than the price, is this one had slightly more cold cranking amps and a different sticker. Okay, so we got everything I think we need and we're headed back to the house. Hopefully we'll have this thing fired up in a couple hours. I had to stop by the store to buy a 6-pack. I don't know if it's going to be for victory or defeat yet. Only time will tell, but either way, I'm going to have a beer. Okay, so now that we've got the belts on and we've got pretty much the front of the engine done, what we need to do now is tighten up all this extraneous stuff, like the power steering pump lines, the air conditioner lines that are all still loose, and then fit some of these fasteners. And then once that happens, the radiator will be ready to go in, and we will be just about ready to try to fire this thing up. So let's do that. Okay, now that we've got the fuel line hooked up, the AC hooked up, and all the power steering stuff tightened up, we have to put in the radiator. So the way this thing sits up, we're going to have to set the shroud in first over the fan like this, and then, because the fan drops into a thing on the radiator, so we'll put the shroud like that, and let's go get the radiator. Okay. Looking in, you can see that the radiator sits on a couple of rubber stoppers. You really can't see that, but there's a little clip on the front there, if you can see that the fan shroud sits in. So we will bolt this down and the radiator down by putting these clamps back on it. We'll put the fan shroud back on, and then after that we should be ready to drop a battery and some oil in it. Okay, so we've got everything hooked up. Made sure the power steering, the transmission cooler lines were hooked up. You always need to make sure those, because if you don't have them looped or plugged off, they'll blow fluid everywhere when you crank it up. Got the gas line on, got the carburetor bolted down, got everything but the kickdown cable on, because I'm going to have to replace that. So now we're going to clean all the extraneous stuff off, drop the battery in, and fill it with oil and see what happens. So let's do that. Okay, so we got a good oil filter in here now. I'm just going to use some cheap 10W40 to start it off with, because chances are, I'm going to be changing the oil again here real shortly after we get it all running and driving. I'll pull the oil out and look at it, and change the filter too. So we got some of this from Walmart, 10W40. So now we just need to pour it in. It holds 5 quarts, and I can't find my big funnel, so it's going to be a while. Okay, we're gonna give it a couple of little cranks to see how she acts before we hook up the coil wire. So the for some reason the oil light isn't on. So we need to check the oil pressure. That doesn't sound good. Something's ticking. So let's go out and see why the oil light's not working. The timing's a little off. Okay, so bad news, guys. The synopsis is this. This engine I bought on Facebook Marketplace turns out to be junk. There is blow by, and it's not that if it's 180 off or anything like that. It literally just started blowing oil out the carburetor and doing all sorts of bad things that shouldn't be happening. So now we're gonna have to figure out what we're doing next with the car. So I guess that's gonna be it for this car for now. Kind of sorry it ended this way, but you know, things happen. Yeah, it was worth a try. The engine was cheap. Guy claimed it was good. No. But I had a lot of fun, put it in, learned a lot. It's just, I did learn a lot, so we'll diagnose into this a little bit later, but the fact I'm blowing oil out the carburetor tells me that there's a whole lot more wrong than just 180 degrees out. So, I appreciate it. We'll get some more updates on this, or if we get another engine or we rebuild the old one. It can go either way there, so I appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot. As you see, we're here under the car. We've already thrown a bunch of quick dry down, but it is dumping oil out just sitting here. It is everywhere.